Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Wednesday, the 25th of March. Today, I'd like to share with you a devotion taken from Celtic Daily Prayer, Book 2, Farther Up and Further In. And it talks about Saint Brigid. Take my glasses off so I can read this. A legend from the Western Isles of Scotland says that Bride, or Brigid, was walking on an ordinary hillside and found herself suddenly in the doorway of a stable in time to comfort Mary, mother, and support her at the birth of the Christ child, but not just as an awestruck observer. With her characteristic immediacy, she realizes she is there to help the Christ to our world. In that moment in Bethlehem, time and eternity intersected, and God came among us as one of us, so that dark and broken reality can be enlightened and made whole. At the beginning of the 19th century, Anne Griffiths, a farmer's wife from Dalwarfach in Montgomeryshire, described the paradox of Bethlehem in one of her hymns. Strange and wonderful with angels, a great wonder in the sight of faith, to see the giver of being, the vast sustainer and controller of all that is, in the manger in a nappy, without a place to lay his head, and yet the shining host of glory worship him as great Lord. The Incarnation speaks of the coming of light and the certainty of redemption. The tradition of Bride, or Brigid, as the servant girl becoming aid woman to the Mother of God, helps to relocate that hope and certainty here in the Western lands in our own time, with its own particular dangers and difficulties, and reminds us that through Christ we have the spiritual resources with which to meet him. That was written by Patrick Thomas. This idea of Brigid seeing herself present at the birth of Christ to be able to aid Mary made me start thinking about midwives and the role of midwives. The midwife doesn't give birth for the mother. The midwife is not the child. The midwife is simply the one who's there to provide what is needed, to give comfort, encouragement, to like the emotional supports, the practical supports like blankets or cut the umbilical cord or take care of the mother and child as birth happens, to take care of the mother after the birth happens, and to take care of the child when that child has emerged into the world. A midwife is someone who does that work of being the helper. And it's a powerful image to think of ourselves as midwives for Christ. We know, the Christians know, that Christ is present. We believe that Jesus rose from the dead and ascended to heaven and sent the Holy Spirit to be with us. We believe that Christ is present in our midst, as close as our fingers are, right at the tip of our fingers. Whether they're way out there or right up here, close to our hearts, Christ is here. The thing is, though, that Christ himself needs a midwife. We know that when Jesus was walking the earth, he walked around, he told the truth, he let people know who he was. Not everybody believed. Not everybody understood. Many did, many didn't. Some did because of Peter or Andrew or James or John. Somebody said something or invited them to come and hang out with this guy who was changing the world. They were like midwives. They were doing that back and forth, the in-between work between the child presented and the person. More like Jesus himself was the mother, and the new life happening was about to be this child, this new person who was burgeoning in the faith, who was coming to know that Jesus gave birth to what would become of this child, who we as new Christians would become. And we are called then to be the midwives who do that in-between work, who make the help with that transition, that Jesus is here and present, and then we invite people to meet him, and then we do that work of bringing them together in relationship. We become midwives for Christ. As Brigid saw that she was the midwife to Mary, to bring Christ into the world, we become the midwife for Christ to help bring that faith and the understanding of who Christ is to others into the world. It's a kind of a different idea, isn't it? Thinking about what that might mean, what it means to be a midwife for Christ. We have a role to play. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Not every midwife is able to bring health and healing or a healthy delivery to both the mother and the child. And there are times in our lives when we might try to be the midwife and the person that we're trying to help deliver doesn't make it or doesn't choose to make it into the faith. But as long as we have done our best, we have brought our gifts and skills, we have offered what we can as midwives, our midwifery skills have been present, then it's up to the receiver. And sometimes that will work and sometimes it won't. But like every midwife, we have to be ready and willing to answer the call when that phone rings and says, "There's another delivery about to happen. Come, help us." You won't know when, but you'll know as it's happening what a gift your role is as midwife for Christ. Have a great day. God bless you, and I'll see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.